Hi and welcome to Module 6 of the How to Start Your Own Magazine course. In this module we will be talking about whether you should do your magazine in print, digital or both. So I do have to start this video by listing the negatives of print because there just is not a big market for print anymore. And in my last video I did talk a bit about that, how a lot of magazine companies are shutting down print and only doing digital because it's just not a big market anymore. In saying that, print still is beautiful and there are a lot of people that will happily buy print and love it. So do I. I still have my magazine in print because I think it is really nice to just have a physical copy, even if it's just for yourself to hold and keep. I do want to mention quickly that I have just updated the Patreon documents and added some more contacts to the magazine contact list and some for author bookstores that take self-published books as well. So please do head over to my Patreon, the link will be down below. I have a lot on there. I have a big resource library and I have lots of content and contact lists and templates. So there is a lot on there and I've just put the price down as well. So please do go have a look and I hope that you sign up and become part of the family on Patreon. But with that being said, I'm going to go into the negatives of print and then I will talk about the benefits and then we will talk about the negatives and benefits of digital. And I'll share some different links and tips as well. So jumping into the negatives of print. So sadly, in the year of 2020, I wrote this in 2020, so just disregard that. But sadly, in the year of 2020, people are less likely to read print. This prediction, however, isn't a new one, having been in sight for a few decades now. And this is the same with newspapers as well. I have worked with newspapers before and people were just starting to read newspapers digitally as well, which is a weird time to live in. So it was suspected as early as the 1990s that both print newspapers and magazines were going to go out the window, with technology starting to become something that was prevalent in people's homes and businesses, and print publications moving toward a slow decline. Now I just wanted to say something that I thought was funny that I learned in journalism when I did journalism. One of my teachers said that back when she first started in journalism, they used to actually have a fact checker who was a man and he would just sit in a room all day just reading like everything that he could. And basically they'd come in and ask him any questions like, is this plagiarized? Has this been talked about before in any other publication? Is this real news? Things like that. And then slowly over time, he just got pushed out and they just had a database where you could just check when the internet started becoming more prevalent and things like that. So that is an interesting bit of information and just goes to show the way that technology is kind of pushing people out of jobs and at the same time giving a lot more jobs to people because they're just moving things forward in a different direction. It is a bit sad though for print. However, print companies held onto strings in hopes of riding out the wave. As the time grew near, print magazines and newspaper companies began to shut down and go out of business, with companies such as Bauer Media, which is the biggest magazine company in Australia. They own like all the magazines that you see pretty much, shutting down over 7 magazine titles, with over 200 employees losing their jobs or being moved to other titles. I personally know 2 of these employees who were moved around until they eventually lost their jobs altogether. See this article by The Guardian that tells all about the company folding. And I put a link here, so I'll post that down in the description. Or if you are on Patreon, which I welcome you to go join on Patreon, all of these documents with the links and the images and everything will be over there, so you have special access to this if you are a Patreon member. So if you are unaware, Bauer Media is the largest Australian magazine brand, buying out most Australian magazine titles that you see today. Most of the magazines you see are not independently owned, and that might be something that surprises you. So magazines are usually owned by big corporations and it's quite rare to find independently published magazines, which is why you see all those magazines on the shelves in newsagents and grocery stores and things like that, because they have connections with this big company who just puts all of the magazines in there. So don't beat yourself up too much if you're finding it hard to get your print magazine into stores. You just have to try a bit harder and prove yourself and make a media kit like I talked about either in the last video or the one before. Very important. This is due to print titles not being able to survive the cut over the years of technology becoming more used and print editions being less and less consumed. As for newspapers, here is an article outlining the latter, and I will post that down below as well. And even though you might not be interested in newspapers, they do have a lot in common with magazines, and if you have a background in journalism, you will know this. And like a lot of people that work for magazines will often work for newspapers as well at some point in their career, because if you're a journalist, you can either work on the news as a speaker or an anchor, as they would call it. You can work in a newspaper, in a magazine. You can be a freelance journalist, so just show up places and interview people on your own. You can work on the radio, so there's a bunch of different things you can do with journalism. Though with the number of print going down, there is still some hope, with some people out there still buying it, and I put another link here. So at the end of the day, what makes you happier? I personally do both to be safe if in the ever-changing market, because it is ever-changing. Plus there is something about print that just does not translate to digital. Something about turning those crisp pages and seeing the pictures in print that is just not the same as scrolling or flicking across on a computer or phone. So now I'll go to the benefits of print magazines. I'm just gonna have a sip of my coffee. So there are many benefits to print magazines that you just don't get with digital, such as you can keep them forever. With print magazines becoming less and less produced, they have started becoming worth something over their lifetime. Think of an old comic or an old Playboy magazine. Like, these are worth so much now. So people have collections, they sell them, and yours could be like that as well. Though they aren't so widely distributed anymore, when you find one, they are worth a lot of money. The same principle translates. 2, it's nice to have a printed portfolio to show future jobs or clients as a representation of your work. I love looking through all my old publications, both magazines and newspapers, and even leaflets that I helped to design. And clients often love to see this too. So my third point is that digital can always be deleted or taken away, or the file could be corrupted, the website could be deleted. But with print, this doesn't happen. And an example of this is I was actually in a magazine, and I was in a few magazines over my lifetime for different things, but this one that I was in, actually, I looked them up a few months ago and they had just deleted their website, deleted their business. It's like they never existed, and they were quite a big magazine, so that was strange. But I always have that print copy that I can cherish and look at to this day. So my fourth point is brands love seeing their products in print, as do writers. Many brands I have worked with in the past only want to work with print magazines, as their product translates beautifully on paper, and it's different to the same digital drawl we see every day when scrolling through social media. As for writers, many love to have a copy of their work in print and will often accept an unpaid job as a guest writer just to be a part of print publication. So now we're moving on to digital, and I don't really know why I put the negatives first before the benefits, but anyway, go to the negatives of digital. So digital magazines, while they are easily accessible and often cheaper to purchase, they are not as nice to read. With this being said, lots of people prefer to sit and read a book rather than read it on their phone, on Kindle or iBooks or anything like that, as it's easier to see. And the same thing goes to magazines. Digital anything often gets deleted by accident. I have many digital copies of books in my iBooks library and often get frustrated when they suddenly disappear from my phone, lost in the cloud or gone altogether. This is an issue that many people face, and it can be frustrating and deter them from reading your magazine altogether. My third point is you usually have to charge less for a digital magazine. With print, you can charge upwards of $20, whereas with digital, if you're charging more than about $2.99, people won't buy it. So with that being said, let's move on to some benefits. So convenience. It can be annoying to find and buy a magazine, especially when it's not a widely distributed one that is easily accessible from the supermarket. Even more so if you have to purchase it online and wait for it to come in the mail. In cases like this, when you want to catch up on the latest issue of your favorite publication, it can just be easier to download it and read it on your phone. Get an issue out quicker is my second point. While digital may take as long to put together, you won't have to waste time trying to get it out to stores, find places to sell your magazine, or have the hassle of sending it to customers, and also waiting for it to be printed and sent to you so that you can send to customers. Just upload it to your host site, MagCloud in my case, and off you go. So MagCloud, you can upload a digital file and it will display it beautifully in digital and also make it print for you. No need to upload two different files, which I love, and customers can just buy the print magazine and off they go. It will get posted straight to them, so you're not having to do anything. So in that case, I think it's easier for both, but if you're going through somewhere else, then it just be easier to do digital. Reach a younger audience. Younger people usually don't read magazines, and I'm talking about teenagers here. So my 14-year-old sister has never read one and was appalled when I told her that people could only buy them in print once upon a time. In saying that, a younger audience, if they do read magazines, would probably likely go for digital. And in my experience, a lot of younger people don't read magazines anyway. They more read zines, which is like a younger person version of a magazine, and some of you might be making zines as well. I can do a video on those if you're interested. I have a little bit of experience with them, and I've actually been interviewed for one before, so I could definitely talk on that if that's of interest. Please comment down below if you're interested in that, or if you're making one. That is all the tips and points that I have, but if you're still interested, go on Patreon. I have a bunch of links for you to read more, and I have an interesting video on this topic by TED Talks as well, which is really good, linked in the document. So definitely go to that if you are interested in reading more about this. And I just wanted to leave you with one more bit of information, which I did mention in my magazine newsletter. If you're not part of that, please do check it out. I'll leave the link down below where the sign up is. We talk about some exclusive things over there that I don't talk about here. But basically, so you may have seen before in a shopping center like the newspaper stands, and you can just take a newspaper, or sometimes you'll just pay a few dollars for a newspaper. So in the shops around here, there's some little magazines that have been doing it that I've noticed, and basically you have a little thing above the stand that says please take one and it's free, or leave a donation. So I just thought that could be a really good way to get your magazine out. And I did get the idea from working at a newspaper, and they used to do it. They were free, so how they made their money was off ads. So the same thing could apply for magazines. You just charge for ads, and then you can give the magazine away for free. And yeah, I just think it's a great tip, and I've definitely looked into doing it in the past. And yeah, I just think it's a great way to get your magazine out there, especially if you're just starting out, and build your audience. So I just want to tell you what is going to be in the next module. So there's 10 modules altogether. This is the 6th one, so next one will be the 7th, and it's looking for ads and publication. So we go through how to find paid ads for your magazine, how to look for people to pay you for ads, what is a media kit, everything you need to know about MagCloud and some great resources, some templates, how to upload your magazine to MagCloud. If you go on Patreon, I actually in this document have images of every step and pictures of my magazine that has been printed on MagCloud, and this is just a huge module, so I really go into detail with images and tutorials for that. So then the rest of the modules are talking about what to do after publication. So marketing, starting up an accompanying podcast, which I have done, and I can't wait for that module to talk to you guys about that, because I've interviewed some pretty cool people, and I just think podcasts are a great way to build your portfolio and like meet other people. So that's module 8. Module 9 is marketing and affiliate marketing, and module 10 is opportunities with Winter Publishing and publishing your magazine with Winter Publishing, which is my publishing brand. So if you choose to do something like that, you can still be independent, but I can oversee your journey and just help you out a lot with publishing and walking you through MagCloud and getting your magazine to bookstores, getting you connections with people and stuff like that. But we will go more into that later on. But I just wanted to give you guys a little preview into what you can expect in the future for these next few videos. So I hope that you got a lot out of this. Please thumbs up the video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more videos that come out. Please do check out my Patreon and my magazine newsletter. I really do think that you guys will get a lot of benefit out of those two. I've only heard positive feedback from people that have signed up on both. Please do comment down below if you have any questions or feedback. Like, I'm always open to talking to people. You can also follow me on Instagram and we can have a chat there. So until next time, thank you for watching this video and I hope you have a good one.